Moripe, Isane, Ludwig, Barabe, Mamelodi, Bani, Piana in the midfield. Procedure is goal. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to it. This is the Hollywoodbets Super League on this Wednesday from Atteridgeville. We are live at the Lucas Masterpieces Moripe Stadium, and it is the final chapter of the season for the University of Johannesburg. One last dance under the African sky, and what a stage to close it on. The orange of UJ meets the golden shine of Mamelodi Sundowns ladies, a side that has turned dominance into an art form. 9 meetings deep into the story, and every page has been painted yellow. 9 times the champions have reigned supreme against their opposition today. 9 times they've reminded South Africa of their brilliance. And today they stand just 4 games away from yet another coronation. A 6th straight Hollywoodbets Super League title glimmering on the horizon for the Brazilians. So that's it, so well poised. The 9 meetings before, 2 originals of the Hollywoodbets Super League, 2 teams that have been involved with the league right from its early days, woven into the fabric of this league, meeting one another for the 10th time in the season 2025. Mamelodi Sundowns have absolutely dominated against the University of Johannesburg. But this is not a team that walks alone through the lights. Across from the stands, a spirited UJ outfit, 6th on the log, but far from small in hearts. They've punched above their weights this season, carrying the pride of the campus with courage and flair. Runners-up were UJ in the varsity women's football competition. They've earned their stripes the hard way. Their last home game was indeed against Sundowns just a month ago, a humbling 5-0 defeat that left lessons written in orange and black. So if we look at the starting 11s today for you, we'll begin with that of the Brazilians. Mamelodi Sundowns, they've made a change in the goalkeeping position. Sedi Lamane Bosija gets the nod in goal. The back 4 will be occupied by Karabo Makurubechi, Bambanani Mbani, and they'll also have the influential Karabo Dlamini as well as Asanda Hadebe coming along those wide flank channels. In the midfield, you've got Isabella Ludwig, who's got 9 goals so far for Sundowns, playing alongside Boitumelo Rabale as well as Kolosa Biana. How happy are we to finally see the return of Biana to our screens as a country. Up front, they've got Ntabiseng Majia, who was one of the players called up by Coach Dejialis in the recent Women's 2026 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. And she'll be playing that role up front with Nokolo Esane, another woman who was involved in that qualification campaign for WAFCON 2026. And then on the other side of the cone, this is Coach Dunga's last starting 11. And last year's goalkeeper of the season doesn't get a place in the start today. Instead, it's Manana Mieki that gets the nod in goal. The defense will be occupied by Ntandeni Munasi, Kabelo Mokwena, Mihle Lumko, as well as Posha Masilela. Posha Masilela was the defender of the tournament at the Engine Champ of Champs competition. The midfield, you've got the Cinderella Mibe sister, well, Adriel's sister and Cinderella Mibe, who gets the nod there. She was on the score sheet, was Mibe, in the 3-3 against Copperbelt the last time out. She'll be playing those midfield rows with the influential Sibonga Gonke Mzobe out in the 6. And then up front, the Kupta, Kukudlamini, Tatomfulo, And those are the names. One more is Unati Mchichwa, who had the only goal in a 2-1 loss against the University of Pretoria. So that's how it is, so nicely poised as we see the sprinklers coming out now to make sure that this pitch is in a good condition. This is carpet, and the carpet of Atteridgeville hosts the final game for the University of Johannesburg. For Sundowns, they'll be back here on Sunday, of course, when they take on Copperbelt Ladies in the Hollywoodbets Super League. But all poised now for what should be a real spectacle. Mamelodi Sundowns have played flawlessly in their past 10 or so games. 7-0 against Durban Ladies, 5-0 against UJ, they beat UP 5-0 as well, 3-1 against Galaxy, 5-1 against TUT. The only game that they lost this season on the pitch was that loss to JVW back at the University of Johannesburg. For if that's any irony, we call that game what a game that was, with Jessica Wade scoring an absolute banger. And then for the defending champions, they would also then lose to Velo under some strange circumstances where the kickoff time was not properly communicated between the parties, and Sundowns a live rate to the game. So that's how it's fared so far this season. But the biggest talking point from the Brazilians' point of view will be the fact that they are not participating in the CAF Women's Champions League after failing to qualify in the SAFA qualifiers around about August, September this year. Was that CAF Women's Champions League is fully within. Began a week ago, and today we actually have TP Mazembe playing against Southern Africa's representatives in Gaborone United. Sundowns were knocked out by Zeskondala Girls of Zambia. TP Mazembe look to defend their title in that African showpiece competition. It's nearing kickoff time here in Atteridgeville. We're set for a 3 o'clock kickoff. The ladies still in the tunnel, the benches all but ready. But the lines are chalked, the grass is cut, the nets are hung, and Atteridgeville is ready for an absolute spectacle of women's football. Lots of kickoffs today then in the Hollywoodbets Super League. This is not the only game taking place on this Wednesday set of fixtures. We have also got simultaneously TS Galaxy taking on Forte. TUT are involved in a Pretoria derby against the University of Pretoria. And later on today, JVW versus UWC. The last game of the league set to be played on the 7th of December, where Sundowns will be coronated one more time, or so they hope, and so it looks to be so far with the way this season has gone, with the trajectory of the season. So lots of kickoffs. Copperbelt will wrap up their Hollywoodbets Super League campaign against Sundowns here on Sunday afternoon. So far, mathematically at least, Galaxy are not completely out of the equation yet. They've played 26 games, have Galaxy there on 60 points, 5 points behind the Mamelodi Sundowns. If you look at the run of games that Sundowns still have to go, highly unlikely that this side drop points. They've got UJ today, Copperbelt on Sunday, City Lads, and they wrap up in the first weekend of December against TS Galaxy. Coach Sapula goes over to exchange some words with the University of Johannesburg personnel. He was in charge previously, Mamelodi Sundowns' head coach for Sundowns' what was their third division side. M Tigers, now dismantled, given the head coach role now this season. It's been a good season for him, lots of lessons to learn, of course, in South Africa's top flight for women's football. And Coach Dunga on the other side, if you remember her playing days correctly, brilliant left back. In fact, how she acquired that nickname, it's nicknamed after Dunga, the Brazilian left back. Oh, she used to play such an affluent brand of football, did the University of Johannesburg head coach, and now she pays it forward to the next generation. She had an excellent season, if you recall, back in 2022, won everything, Engine Gauteng, Engine Champ of Champs, varsity competition. USA as well was a competition that they did so well in back in 2022. This year they were winners, of course, of the Engine Gauteng knockout challenge, and then went on to become once again champ of champions in the youth competition. Slowly edging towards the kickoff here. They've made this place into their home, have Mamelodi Sundowns. They look to lift another title here in a couple of weeks' time. There seems to be a bit of a delay down there on the pitch to eventually start the game. And Sundowns and both themselves and UJ patiently waiting. But really excited to see the tactical lay of the land for Mamelodi Sundowns. It's been interesting what Sapula's done with the team. He's come with his own ideas, his own methodology, although for the beginning stages he didn't change all too much. He has eventually found a rhythm and a melody that works for him. UJ have done really well this season. It could potentially finish in 6th place should things remain the way that they are. Copperbelts are just behind them, but they too, their last game won't come any easier than the form of the defending champions. So we'll have to see as to where exactly the University of Johannesburg ends up finishing in this year's campaign, but they'll be happy winning the engine competitions, finishing in the top 8 of the Super League, and even getting to the final of the varsity women's competition. Are both, well, you consider all of those performance matrices, and that's a really good finishing, but a tad bit off their standards last season, where they finished in 4th place on 65 points. This year, they have 42 points. And remember, the Sundowns are the ones on 65. A long delay here. I wonder what's causing this now. I'll tell you about UJ's form. It is almost like similar to the form that they had back in the 2023 season, where they finished on 43 points. That year, they only finished in 9th place, so it's been a completely different season this year, even with the points tally. Not as many, very competitive is what we've seen in this year's Hollywoodbets Super League season. It shows that our women's football is on the right trajectory. There's definitely a delay with the start. And for a 3 o'clock kickoff. Sundowns have won every single Hollywoodbets Super League since the 2019-20 season. They look to confirm yet another campaign this year. It would be league title number 6, their 6th coronation, the 6th time that they ascend to the top flight of the women's game in South Africa. If they are able to, of course, go on and do what so many people have expected of them to do. The player awards will also be really interesting. I'm still waiting for the kickoff. Please do stay with us here as we wait for the two teams to finally line up in the tunnels. And as soon as we have an update as to why exactly the game so far delayed, we will let you know. waited a little longer for this one, but some stories are worth the wait. Under the soft glow of the afternoon sun, two sides step out once more to write the final verses of their season. Mamelodi Sundowns ladies, the queens of South African football, and the University of Johannesburg, a team that has grown in courage, character and class. 9 times these sides have met, 9 times the yellow wave has washed over the contest. Sundowns relentless, ruthless, radiant, chasing yet another chapter in their golden legacy. 4 games stand between them and a 6th consecutive Hollywoodbets Super League crown. The mission remains the same for the Brazilians: perfection. For you, Jay, today is about pride, not position. They closed their season against the very side that humbled them a month ago. A 5-0 reminder of what it means to face the best. But this is a different day, a new rhythm, and a chance to leave their mark against the mighty champions. 6th in the league, silver medalists in the varsity women's competition. The Orange Army has fought with heart, carrying their badge with honor. So, it's a full circle moment. The same opponent, a different feeling, a chance to end the season on their own terms against the best that there is. So as the whistle nears and the shadows stretch across the pitch, it's the story of the champions chasing history and the challengers chasing belief. From Mamelodi to Soweto, from dominance to defiance, this is South African football, where every touch has a heartbeat and every match carries a dream. And it is the Hollywoodbets Super League, live for you on our SAFA platforms. So I think we'll have a half-past-3 kickoff. But this is a game much anticipated. The winners of the Engine Gauteng and Engine Knockout Challenge, one of the best teams that there is in the development space. If memory serves me right, in last year's Engine Champ of Champs, when Engine Gauteng rather, UJ were beaten by Sundowns in the final, that at youth level. So some of the best youth academies that they have, these two sides respectively, and Banyana style are ready to show the world that shoe shine and piano football again. So as the play nears its beginning, the champions look to sharpen their shine, the challengers chasing redemption, and the beautiful game breathing through every pass. This is Mzansi football at its finest, where passion meets power and the pride plays the final notes. We are here and we are live finally for the University of Johannesburg, traveling away to Pretoria for their last game of the season against the defending champions Mamelodi Sundowns. Let's see who takes this one away. Esane, first early touch for her as she looks to put through Ntabiseng Machia. Really enjoyed watching Ntabiseng Machia in the qualifier played 2 weeks ago now against the Leopardesses of Congo in Dobsonville. Khatebe scoops it up. Ludwig is there. Ludwig gets beyond the goalkeeper and she may put the ball into the net. Yes, she does it. Oh, that's a big shock. Isabella Ludwig looking for her 10th goal in Mamelodi Sundowns colours. What a revelation she's been under coach Godfrey Sapula, signed from the University of Pretoria at the beginning of this season, and has had some really good displays. Good Bunch of supporters here as well on this Wednesday. Ludwig wins it back. Oh, they're going to restart play. Mamelodi Sundowns. Back to basics. Mbane playing with Makurubechi in the back two centre-back positions. This is some good movement here. Rabale cut out in the midfield by Cinderella Mibe. Oh, good-looking ball. That could be some danger here. But the flag was forthcoming from the referee's furthest assistant. The very first game between these sides was played back in that very first season. And this is a very good ball here. Can she keep it in the field of play? She does. But no one was making their way to the box there. I was telling you that this head-to-head is dominated by the Brazilians. Played them the first time in August 2021 and beat them by a scoreline of 2-0. And over those games, UJ have only scored twice against Mamelodi Sundowns. Will today be a day where they can find the back of the net, the Orange Army? Calls for calm, cool and collected does Portia Masilela. Sundowns ball. Sane may just profit onto this one here. Moving on that right is Nokolo. This is Machia. Machia still onto it, isn't Tadi Singh? Oh, good flick of the ball there to leave it behind for Sane. Hits the bar, takes a touch off the near stick. In goal today, University of Johannesburg have got Mana Mieki. She's also played a part, maybe it serves me right, when they played against First Touch Ladies and Bunting Road at the A.W. Muller Stadium. Mzobe. That's too much on that for Kuku Dlamini. This is Desane. Also her very first season since playing aboard, coming to Mamelodi Sundowns, and a set piece has been won here. All the traffic so far coming on this right side for Banyana Bastyle. Mbane slowly approaching a century worth of caps for the South African women's national team. This is Isabella Ludwig. Many have been calling for her to be involved in some of the national setups. Mbane, one of our best players as well was Mbane at the recent Women's Africa Cup of Nations. This is Makurubechi. Kept lots of clean sheets together. Have this pairing of Mbane and Makurubechi. That's a good-looking ball for Machia, who's just in an offside role, isn't Tabi saying? Set piece for the Brazilians. and see what they conjure up, what they've been working on during the week. Have Mamelodi Sundowns, they've got Esane and Rabale over this one. Which of the two is it going to be? Looks like it's going to be the Lesotho international. Something from the ground, perhaps, that is well intercepted. Back at the feet of Khatebe. It's Ludwig that puts it onto the chest, but she was offside. Lots of defending in these early exchanges for the University of Johannesburg. The ball will run again. This is Masilela for UJ. And Masilela is dispossessed. 3-4 yellow shirts moving. Which option does she choose? It's Machia on this right side, peeling away. Options for her in the box, and she finds one on the bar. Oh, that looked dangerous, and all the makings of a good move. Coming through there was Kolosa Piana. She's a national asset, is Kolosa Piana. She really knows how to distribute a pass as well. I remember the friendly games, well, not friendly, rather Olympic qualifiers played against DR Congo back in 2023. Oh, it was her passes alone that opened up that Leopardesses midfield. Speaking about Kolosa Piana. Bane recycles to Bosija. Majority of the ball being held by the defending champions. Ludwig profits onto it there. Ludwig now looks to make some headway forward. Can they keep it inside here? UJ will try to make sure the last touch comes off a Sundowns player, and anyway will do there for Mihle Lumko. The counter drive begins now, and the Gupta is moving. This is Gugu Dlamini looking to turn defense into attack. Here's Gugu. Goes for goal. It's a half-hearted attempt, quite ambitious to be honest, but gets the applaud of some of the University of Johannesburg supporters that have made their way here. Growing into such an important player is the Gupta. Gugu Dlamini started her football at the University of Pretoria. Sundowns ball. Good touch. The ground slowly opening up. This is Rabale. EJ doing lots of defending. Masilela gets it away now. Down it goes. The target again is the Gupta. And here she comes. This is Gugu Dlamini putting pressure on Bambanani Mbani. And not many are able to get her to budge under pressure as Bambanani Mbani. UJ, their past 3 games has been a mixed bag of results. A 5-0 loss to Mamelodi Sundowns back to end October. They then beat Royal AM and had a 3-3 draw with Copper Belts. Ludwig had a hat-trick the last time she played UJ. Here she is. This is Isabella Ludwig. Coming out with it, Sibonga Gonke Mzobe. What a footballer is Sibonga Gonke Mzobe. May just profit to the Orange Army there. Tolagele as well as Dawechi scored against UJ the last time out as well. So Machia could be the one on the score sheet this time, and Mieki anywhere out will do for the Orange Army's #1. We've had 10 minutes worth of football here. This is Rabale. Top goal scorer last season is Boitumelo Rabale with 17 goals. What a figure she is in this team. just loves the football, wants to play ball, is Rabale. Pressing Dlamini, Hatebe recycles to the Botswana international. The goalkeeper for Mamelodi Sundowns had some good minutes for Botswana in the recent Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Rabale lays one off. Tolagele pulls a trigger. Oh, it's a beauty. Oh, it's incredible. Super effort that. A goal of the highest order for the Brazilians. And they have opened up the scoring. High class. And Tolagele again scores against the University of Johannesburg. She had one goal at the hour mark when they played at UJ, and she's got one very early here, and it's a picturesque effort. It's Sundowns' 74th goal in the Hollywoodbets Super League. What a cracking effort that was. Take a bow, Tolagele. So the ball will roll again after a dozen minutes of football, and the Brazilians already finding themselves in the lead. How do the University of Johannesburg respond here? Esane. Zobe. Nakukudlamini. Botumelo Rabale had long gone down, so she's going to require some attention here. Not gone down, but she's definitely in some discomfort, is Botumelo Rabale. Oh, the Furia Tolagele has been such a revelation since she's come back from that terrible injury last year. She came back and has shown some form, picked up at the SAFA Women's Champions League qualifiers, and has been so important for the Sundowns team going forward. She could be in again here. She's the target. This is Tolagele. Trips in the way, and she's the guilty party as per the referee. Hope you've enjoyed the watch so far. Spinner. Decent brand of football for Mamelodi Sundowns. Fluid, moving. The queens of ladies football in South Africa. Ludwig flicks it on. Falls for Mokoena, hoofs it up. Of course, Mamelodi Sundowns this year not qualifying for the very first time for the Women's Champions League, which is taking place right now. As a matter of fact, we've got TP Mazembe playing against Gaborone United, Southern Africa's representatives for the first time. One back by Mavundla. DJ will profit off something here. Well, they were in an offside role, rather. It was adjudicated by the referee. 15 minutes in. We've got lots of games for you in the Hollywoodbets Super League on this Wednesday. I was telling you that we've got this one here in Attridgeville, but across the country, TS Galaxy are also in action today. They're in action against the Baby Wolves, University of Fort Hare. That was another 3 o'clock kickoff in the Super League. We also have a Pretoria derby in the 0-1-2 where TUT is against UP. JVW UWC is the final kickoff. Here is Kukudlamini. What a turn that was. Finds Mzobe. Good linkage of play that now. Stringing the passes in that midfield in Mzobe, and it's an attempt from far out. Mbane. Last season for the Brazilians, Mamelodi Sundowns, they finished their campaign on 83 points, only losing on one occasion. I guess this season they'll say they've only lost on the pitch on one occasion as well. But that was the numbers last year, and scored 114 goals. It comes up to an average for Mamelodi Sundowns for you of just above 3.5 goals a game that they were able to score last year. UJ also had one of their best campaigns, finishing up at 4 in last year's season. They've previously finished as high as they are now, was 5th place for the University of Johannesburg. Oh, good linkage. A collision of bodies there. And the referee, let's see which way she points this one. Unati Mchichwa making some good movements for the University of Johannesburg whenever she gets onto the ball. It's going to be very interesting to see when next year's campaign begins, purely because the Women's Africa Cup of Nations is so early in the year. It starts on the 17th of March next year. And by that time, the domestic league in South Africa hasn't kicked off, and that will have some implications for Banyana's preparation. So we've heard the UWC coach and the assistant coach for Banyana maybe call for an early begin to the season. Tolagele is through on goal. Yeah, puts it across the face of goal, all the way to Nokolo Esane. Back to Tolagele, to the box. This is Rabale. Off target for Sundowns' leading goal scorer. This is UJ's last game. They draw the curtain after this and they'll be back next year. But that's exactly the point I was making, that for the UJ players that want to be eligible for the squad, now it means you've got some idle time between, even potentially after Women's Africa Cup of Nations. So it'll be interesting what decisions are made in that regard. Piana. Good gliding in the midfield by Piana. Mbane slips, and the referee is going to penalize Mchichwa here. And it looks to be, or just take care of the situation. Just a warning for Mchichwa. It's all she's going to get from the referee. Ludwig started her football at JVW. And people not knowledgeable of that fact. That's when she made the switch for UP. When UP saw how good she was at football, and she could profit onto it here. Battling away there with Mihle Lumko, and Lumko gets it away. Now Khatebe. Lumko's going to need to do good work here, and she does just that. It's a sliding tackle to prevent Isabella Ludwig from venturing any further forward. Did mention to you that Mamelodi Sundowns will be back here on Sunday for their 27th game this year, and for Copperbelt's last game of the Hollywoodbets Super League. Here's Kolosa Piana. Oh, that's $1 million pass. Flag stays down. Is there a way here for Sundowns? Oh, my word. I don't know how they weren't able to find one another there. It was screaming 2-0, screaming past me and put me into the net. We're halfway into the first stanza here. Confirmation of the score for you in the halfway juncture. If you're only joining our coverage now, it is Refilwe Tolagele, the difference between these sides, with an absolute cracker of a goal. Making herself available on the right here is Khatebe. The Gupta goes in for the tackle. And this is the former Richmond United footballer, Thabiseng Majia. Takes a tumble on her way there, does Majia. She also has really got the goal-scoring knack, does Thabiseng Majia. Coach Tinasonke did mention the fact that she is, and that the entire national setup of the squad deeply thinking about potential friendly fixtures to prepare for next year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Munasi. Up the field it goes, inside and out. Tries to go the attacking player there for UJ. It's one again, really good work. Here come the Orange Army. Can they be bold and brave and prim? Khateb. This is Bambanani Mbani. And ball is cut out. Now the transition came from the University of Johannesburg. It appears as though that's going to be the methodology from a UJ's perspective. Absorb the pressure, and when the chance comes, hit on the break. Ludwig. Dlamini. Oh, what a deadly left foot does Dlamini have. So lovely to hear the contingent of supporters here at the venue, seeing them live, and bearing in mind it's a midweek game. This just shows you the support that the Brazilians carry with them whenever they go. Every football game is a statement-making football. Back to Bosija. Haven't really seen Tato Mfulo yet for the University of Johannesburg in that jersey 9. It's been really starved of service up front, and look at how high the central defensive midfielder Sibonga Gonke Mzobe is pressing. Mbane. Through to Tolagele, clips onto the box. Munasi tries to scuff that ball away. Inadvertently gives away a corner. Really Sundowns with an opportunity from the dead ball perspective here. Nokolo Esane goes over to preside over it as we see a lovely shot of the Attridgeville in the background. Peli. Artists such as 25K proudly call this place home. Peli's Machiavelli. So here we go for the dead ball. Boitumelo Rabale is so good with delivering these type of balls. She delivered a ball from this type of angle for Munashe Mugwara's first goal in the Hollywoodbets Super League against First Touch Ladies on Heritage Day. So here it comes from Rabale. Maybe a bit of a commentator's curse there. Not her signature type of delivery, but she'll get a retake. So here's the retake then from Rabale. Mandamoya at the back. Esane on the bye. Mzobe with a well-timed challenge. And they come out with a can-made transition. Can UJ? Gupta with a nick. The referee says play on. Tabi Seng Machia was moving on her pike, and Khatebe has stayed down for Mamelodi Sundowns. There it comes, ball to the box. Referee now goes over to give the necessary attention to Khatebe. Okay, to all our viewers tuning in on SAFA's live stream page, I hope you're enjoying the game so far. Possession dominated by Sundowns. There's lots of heart in it from the University of Johannesburg, and maybe they might get a sniff at goal, one or two. Kata, here they come now. One back there and stopped in his tracks before it materializes into anything more than that. Mzobe fouled in the midfield by Biana. Central defensive midfielder on central defensive midfielder in that instance. CDM on CDM. Lots of pressure here. Inroads made by the University of Johannesburg. It falls for Masilela. Got some updates of scores around the country for you. The University of Pretoria has beaten TUT by 2-0. It's full time in that game in the Pretoria derby. Goals from Amshile Shongwe and Ketumetri Menwe are the difference for Tuks. And will have some bearing on where they end up finishing on the table. UP, they've still got 2 games to go. Back up on her feet and then get some G-Joy there. Ball can run again. We've had half an hour's worth of football here in Attridgeville. So lots of football to be played. We've still got 1 hour's worth of football. Foul in the attacking process for Mamelodi Sundowns. It's going to be University of Johannesburg ball. As they restart play. Have won 12 of their 29 games so far. Have UJ this year. This is Biana. Opens up the midfield. Doesn't find the feet of Ludwig. Instead, it's going to be Lumko to clear. Only back to Mamelodi Sundowns' feet. Last year, UJ, to show you the contrasting seasons they've had won 66% of their games last year. 20 from 30 played. This year, it's going to be a return of just under 50% should this result remain like this. Ball over the top. Ntabiseng Magia gets a good touch. Now this is Khatebe. Thinks about it. Kuku Dlamini watching. Back to Magia. All by herself, but they're able to find their way through there. Now, Khatebe, options in the box. Oh, good defending. It needs to be good defending there. 4 yellow shirts lining up. Now it comes to Dlamini. Winds and goes right to the bye. Does Dlamini cut back? Good ball. Just gets the ball tangled behind her feet at the crucial moment when she needs to pull the trigger. And now Mzobe and Co can play out with it. Dispossessed before they can even transition. This is Ludwig. Machia. Tsolagele, the goal scorer, to the box. Oh, very dangerous looking ball. That was clipped insightfully, invitingly. EJ just absorbing lots of pressure in these initial 30 minutes. A rare opportunity to hit on the break. Cinderella Mibe, the former Wits Juniors footballer, developed in the Wits system, did Mibe. Headway on the right. Ludwig defending this time. Clears it anywhere out for Mamelodi Sundowns. Monasi. Ludwig now wins it back again. Here we go. Here they go. Battle that direct wing play. Michael Lumko is as solid as a rock there for the University of Johannesburg. Trying to come back is Kuku. She won't beat Esane to the ball, but Esane gave a little too much there. She slips before getting there. UJ get a spell at the possession now. Last season, Mamelodi Sundowns finished on 83 points. They currently sit on 65 with 5 games to go. If they win those games that they have still to play, it will only take them up to 80 points tally in the season. On the other side, the player requires some attention. So, 10 minutes to go until the halftime break in Attersville. A well-contested game here, although UJ have been on the back foot for large parts of it. They've played some commendable football, some football that they can be proud of. This is Mzobe. Carries on going, does Mzobe. Khatebe against Mzobe for Sundowns ball. Mbane. I've said she's approaching a century worth of appearances for the women's national team against the Leopardesses of Congo. She played game number 97, did Bambanani Mbane. She's played World Cup before, has Mbane in that centre-back position. That's what I like then about our national team at the moment. Lots of domestic players. Of course, the international ones come in at a differential element. Your Amumutaus, your Khatanas, your Makhaya. But having a good Mbane can never be overstated, or a good Jane, or a good Dlamini, or a Ramalepe. Is not playing a part here today for Mamelodi Sundowns is Lebogang Ramalepe. Will be participating in the University Sports of South Africa, USAS, come December time. Very much around the corner now. Because I mean, he's going to get cautioned here. She tried to put her hand on the ball before it even went out. And that's what the referee cautioning about her there. As the crowd gets ever so louder. This is Mbane. Esan came back from playing overseas this year and slotted in like a glove in the Sundowns team. Makurubechi. Mchichwa now for UJ. This is Mchichwa. Mchichwa did have a singular goal against UP and a 2-1 loss. We're about 7.5 minutes away from the halftime break. Don't think there'll be too many stoppages added on to the end of the regulated 45 here. It's been a largely clean game of football. 1 or 2 stoppages, but nothing stoppage time worthy. That's a good inward movement by Dlamini. And she needs to come out of her goal and do some reaction goalkeeping. Does Mieki. Often the understudy of Teledi, last year's best goalkeeper in the Super League. That'll be interesting as to where that award goes this year. Goalkeeper of the season award, Kolosa Piana. Time and space in the midfield. Clips one over for Esane. Esane, oh, and she just can't get her foot onto it. Can Tabise Magia. Sundowns would think in their heads that this could be 1, 2, 3, even more goals up for them now. Jijwa. This is Kuku Dlamini. We've got 5 minutes to go till half time. This is Tabise Magia. Direct wing play. And Isabella Ludwig has got in the better of her marker there. This is Isabella Ludwig. UJ, you've got to commend them for the work they've done defensively this afternoon. They've had Magia, Ludwig, Tolayele, Rabane, Esane running at them really hard. But in large parts of the game, they've stood tall and strong. Big one later as well between JVW and UWC. Bring that for you as well here on our SAFA stream, so you can enjoy that game later with the 7 kickoff in mind. Sundowns have a couple of players already performing the warm-up routine. Rabale, Biana leaves it behind, Ludwig pulls it back. Ludwig doesn't quite hit the target in that instance. Esane with the head away. Possession remains at Banyanawa style feet. So this UJ team plays some really good brand of football against Durban ladies. Not in the Super League, but in the Engine Champ of Champs finals. Bonga Wonke Mzobe scored the winning goal there. Chichwa on Khatebe, and immediately apologetic as UJ's forward pressing player for today. Then of course bid farewell to Aisha Musa and Mibe, Adriel Mibe earlier on this year. Musa has gone over to Spain, and Adriel Mibe doing her football in the America University system. Makurubechi, Bambanani Mbani. Bambanani Mbani with a good ball over the top. Tolagele! Persistence. Not sure she's trying to put it across for Ludwig there. She looked like she was going for goal herself. Sundowns slightly 3 points less, finishing if they win all their games in hand, or the game that they have left. It would be 3 points less than they had last year. Esane. Oh, skillful that from Kukudlamini. This lady Kukudlamini was part of what they called the varsity experience last year, when they picked handful of varsity women's players to spend a week at Cape Town City. Rabale, this is Potimelo Rabale on the left foot. We know how she can curl those. Sundowns' youth setup is also doing really well. They've won the Sasol Gauteng National League, of course, automatically, but by mere effect of sharing intellectual property and name with Sundowns, they can't be in the Super League next year, so they'll have to use another team from Gauteng for the Sasol playoffs. But the Sasol team did well. The Gauteng Women's Development League teams have done well, and we see the confirmation of the 2 minutes that are going to be added here towards the end. Like I said, not too much stoppage time. Masilela with the ball over the top, and no one forthcoming, no one chasing that one down for the Orange Army. Makurubechi. Akarabo Dlamini, who played both games in the recent Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against DR Congo. And just want to feel the lever and run the clock down till half-time now to the Brazilians, Mamelodi Sundowns. This is Mbane. Ludwig is looking and lurking dangerously in the box. Mbane has progressed so forward as a centre back. Lines up here, but there's a foul by Rabane. Lumko gets ready to take. That foul is on Munasi. And those defenders have had a handful of a task. Telling you about their youth system, even their boys' youth system. Every single one of their teams except under 14 won their development leagues. But that is the story of the first half here in Atteridgeville between Mamelodi Sundowns and the University of Johannesburg. Refilwe Tolagele, the difference at the halfway juncture after a thunderbolt of an effort, sees the goalkeeper that can only stun and kick. The effort was that good for Mamelodi Sundowns. UJ, lots of defending to do for them in the first half. Some moments in transition in transition, but nothing other than that. The second half is up next, but after 45 minutes, it's Mamelodi Sundowns that lead by a singular goal to nil against the Orange Army. Stay tuned. So, welcome back, everybody. This is the Hollywoodbets Super League. It is the University of Johannesburg's last game in the Super League in 2025. They're on the ropes. They're up against it, against Mamelodi Sundowns. So let's see how they come into the second period. What a first half it was for the Brazilians, feeling the leather, passing the ball to one another, and really showing why we know them as the shoe shine and piano girls. Let's see if UJ can play with a little bit of bravery. They last 45 minutes in 2025. Until the season returns again next year. Sundowns will kick us off for the second period. So the ball can run, and Mamelodi Sundowns attack the goal to the left of your screen this time around. So second half, so sit back, relax, and let's see how UJ fare in this one. Chichwa puts pressure on Sundowns' jersey 25 there. So I'll let you know as to the changes if and when they were made at halftime. But so far it looks like the teams have come back just from how they have started. Mavundla dispossessed there by Magia. Now this is Ludwig. Khatebe. Good ball, that's great ball. Goes down right in a dangerous position. Referees in close proximity, waves play. Now here comes the Gupta, inside and out goes Kuku Dlamini. Kurubechi separates and makes sure that nothing untoward occurs. Lack of service for Tato Mfulo in that jersey 9 today. She had her first call-up for Coach Dejialis and the Banyana team in the recent AFCON qualifiers, and Kuku Dlamini subsequently hits the ground. The Gupta has contributed a healthy amount of goals for the University of Johannesburg this season, has Kuku Dlamini. So far, in excess of 5, considering both the varsity competition as well as Hollywoodbets Super League, and that will not be a welcome sight for the head coach, Coach Dunga. Also a super sport analyst sometimes is Coach Dunga. Asane. Goes down from the challenge from Zobe. The ground feels a little bit more open now for Mamelodi Sundowns. This is Ludwig. Great first half that she had. A hat-trick the last time she played against UJ on the 19th of October. This is Hatebe and Mjichwa. So lively, wins it back. Stays inside the parameters of the field. I'm not sure how, but Sundowns recover it. And this is Makurubechi. Long ball. It looks for Tolagele. It gets Tolagele. Now, Khatebe to the box. Great bit of touches. She can't quite put it down. And it's away. Anywhere will do there. Lots of pressure from Sundowns. Want to pile on the goals now. Last year, the University of Johannesburg played against threatened and eventually relegated Lindelani Ladies in their last game. That fixture was played on the 9th of November, so round about now is when they played their last fixture last year. And they beat Lindelani 2-1. For Sundowns, their very last game last year was a month later on the 8th of December. They were busy with some Champions League action last year, where Mamelodi Sundowns, and they beat UWC by 2-0. What a campaign last year was. Super competitive for large parts. But like Sundowns do so often, they find a different gear, a different level, and just pull away. And that's a really good ball. Magia touches it into her stride. Not the best of touches by Magia. Circulated now. Ludwig sets her player down. It's Masilela that's succumbed to the skill of Ludwig there. Now this is Mjijwa. Mzobe turns, picks up her head. The crowd have opened up here for UJ. But Bosija is well positioned as watching that one from a mile away. Esane. UJ sitting back now. Good ball. Rabale leaves one more, and Sundowns have opened them up here. It's just too easy for the Brazilians. Brilliant bit of interplay. Finished off eventually by Tabiseng Magia. Goal number 10 for her. Her routine signature celebration. Mamelodi Sundowns 2, UJ 0. This is the Sundowns way. This is the Banyanaba style way. And they are in the driver's seat firmly now against the university team. Very slow to get back to the kickoff position of both teams, as a matter of fact. And UJ are going to try to catch Bosija off. It's an ambitious attempt. And the referee is going to have them restarted. You've got to be fully in your own half, and some of the players, I gather, were still walking, not quite in their respective halves. And the ball also not quite on the center circle. And UJ get us off and underway again. Lots of pressure still by Sundowns. Magia pressing up there with Esane. So 2 goals, one by Tolagele, one by Ntabiseng Magia. Of course, the Sundowns men's team will return to action next weekend when they take on Lupopo in the CAF Champions League. Kick off next weekend, Loftus Versfeld. If you want to start thinking and planning in advance, that's the next game on the cards for the Brazilian men team. Kukudlamini still on the park. Wrestles Isabella Ludwig down there. And Sundowns keep the ball at their feet. And Sundowns still far from their last game. They'll play it round-about the first week of December against TS Galaxy Queens. Mavundla, they're able to get it somewhat the way they are. The University of Johannesburg falls at the feet of the Kupta. Lifts it away to Ludwig. Lusanda Mavundla, away by Mihle Lumko. Really enjoy Lusanda Mavundla's versatility. She's a young lady that she can play in your center-back position. She can also play out wide for you. Very versatile. Requires that as the modern day defender. And they may be exposed. Yeah, this is Khatebe. Pulls it back inside. Great work that by Khatebe. Bosija Clipped over the top for Esane. Oh my word! But she's offside, it won't count. It was such a beautiful move. And that's what I was telling you about in the first half about Kolosa. Biana's passes rather. Oh, she can pass a ball around, Ken Biana. And that's just a tip of the iceberg of what she can do. EJ, this year, they've lost 11 games so far in the Hollywoodbets Super League. Some losses recently against JVW. Richmond did the double over them this year. The Sundowns on course for the double themselves here. Last year for UJ, they'd lost only 5 games. How different 2 seasons can look. Khatebe. Ludwig. Oh, that's great bit of CDM defending there from UJ's point of view. Ludwig. Rabale. No changes yet for either of the sides as Tolagele picks up the burners here for Mamelodi Sundowns. This looks like it took a final touch for a corner for the Brazilians. Their first corner here in this second half. They had 3 corners in the first half. 10 minutes into the second period. Let's see what they work on here. Something maybe from the training ground. Magia lurking with a free roll. And it's definitely something that's been rehearsed. Sane is fouled by Mzobe there. UJ do have some players from the bench that they could bring on and influence the game. Nobahle Mtelwa. Filwe Masego, Yolanda Nduli, who was called up into the recent Banyana team. There's a yellow card issued to the University of Johannesburg. So Rabale, Esane both at the dead ball. Man-on-man marking from a University of Johannesburg's point of view. Rabale inviting, teasing ball, and this is Ludwig with the follow-up. Just off the target for Isabella Ludwig, looking for goal number 4 against UJ just this year. Makurebechi. Khatebe. Ludwig puts it into a bit of space. Mzobe. Now Mibe. Now the chance to break Mfulo. The top goal scorer for the University of Johannesburg is Tato Mfulo. She was too called up by Coach Desiree in the recent Banyana squad. Although she didn't get any minutes, she's definitely one that you can think that in the future, especially in our youth ranks, can be a force and a dynamite that's worked with. Bamanani Mbani. Refibe Tolagele peels, leaves her defenders in her wake. This is good interchange of passes. Even better defending by Mokwena. But the 80 tally for Sundowns at the end of the year is their average finishing. They had 83 last year. The season before it was 81 for Mamelodi Sundowns. 82 the year before. So you take those type of figures, and the average finishing is about 81 points at the end of the year. That's far off the rest of the troops. As far as the rest of the 15 teams in the Hollywoodbets Super League. It gives them an average of just under 3 points a game, 2.7 points a game for Sundowns across 3 Hollywoodbets Super League seasons. So by that standard and by that matrix, you can see that Coach Sapula has done well. Esane has lots of green room here. Khatebe comes through as a reinforcement. Masilela playing higher up, more as a CDM. She has Mibe that's helping her there. And Fulo, I think, has stayed down from a University of Johannesburg's point of view. Sundowns keep coming. Tolagele! Goal kick for UJ, and I guess now is the perfect time to give some attention to the player that's gone down. An hour's worth of football has gone by here in Pretoria. I hope you've enjoyed the watch so far. Sundowns have dominated. UJ have held to their own, but they haven't had a shot on target just yet. They've played football for an hour and they haven't tested Bosija yet, have the University of Johannesburg. And Sundowns are going to get corner number 5 here. I think Fulo's good. A set piece can come through. It's the set piece queen, Bochumelo Rabale. It lands for jersey number 3 for Sundowns. Makurubechi. Yo, here they are. Big chance that for Bamanani Mbani. Still alive, yo! Misses the target completely. Good attempt that by Tolagele. She acknowledges that perhaps there were some better options around her and that she could have maybe just been better off finding the feet of another Sundowns player. But should they be able to finish in the 6th place for UJ, it will be their 3rd highest finishing in the Super League. Esane Rabale. Esane able to find those pockets of space so well. Esane, she also had a stint where she was at Tigers, you know, where Khatlana is, but more notably, we know her in South Africa. She spent 4 years playing for UWC after spending some time at the Cape Town Roses development system. Ludwig. Dlamini, the lefty, heads forward. Dlamini has a click! Oh, that tells you how close that was. The oohs and ahs from the crowd as the left-footed Dlamini playing in a left centre-back role today. Bit of a different role that she's occupying today. Used to outright the wing channel, up and down type of position. And lots of cramping from the UJ players. Time to go to the bench perhaps. Sundowns, I think, have already made a personnel change. So 65 minutes into the game, we've got 25 minutes to go. Mamelodi Sundowns lead and on course for victory number 10 against UJ. Like I said, they've still got a couple of fixtures left before they confirm themselves as victors, as winners once again of this league. The coronation potentially on the 7th. Bosija, Dlamini. He's won the Champions League with Mamelodi Sundowns as Karabo Dlamini. Bambanani Mbani. It's 5 goals for the national team, does Bambanani Mbani. And that's really good defending by Kabelo Mokoena. And that left channel there for the University of Johannesburg. We don't have Shannon Makomo in the starting 11 fielder today. Tolagele has found herself in a bit of room here. Lovely back heel that for Magia. And the flag halting that eloquent Mamelodi Sundowns move. A couple of teams are nearing to the end of the Hollywoodbets Super League campaigns. I mentioned that UJ are playing their last game here, but 2 teams are all done and dusted and prepping, well, hopefully for 2026 already. You've got Richmond United, who are in 12th place at the moment, as well as UCT, the debutants, the newcomers in the league. Play on, says the referee. As Sundowns go, Tolagele drops a shoulder, puts on the pace. This is Tolagele, Refilwe Tolagele. Oh, that's brilliant defending. That's what earns a defender her money. Lovely work at the back by Kabelo Mokoena. Confirm the changes for you for Mamelodi Sundowns as to who's come on. Khatebe. Khatebe to the box, dangerous there. Esane on the bike, Esane curls it. That's a go for the curler, does Nokolo. Actually, don't think there's any changes made yet from a Sundowns perspective. Masilela tries to clear, looks around for options. Oh, she had such a good engine competition, did Portia Masilela. Even in the varsity campaign, there were signs already that this is a generational centre-back. But what I see they've done with her now, she's playing more as a CDM, so sort of a higher role, but still defending. The change for Mamelodi Sundowns is Lelona Daweti, who's made her way onto the park. So that's the change for you. Daweti, who was on the scorer's sheet against UJ in the 5-0 about a month ago. Dlamini looks for the running Lelona Daweti. Oh, I remember 2022. How good Daweti was. What a striker she is. Also, some injuries here and there. But herself, when she's high up there, sharing the ball with the likes of Melinda Khadiete, oh, she can be a real problem. And Andy Siwemkoi. Esane. Oh, great work here by Mamelodi Sundowns up the field. Mokoena gets a touch and the goalkeeper keeps it firmly within a breadbasket. It needs to be a good save there, and it is exactly that. It's high quality. So entering into the last 20 minutes here of this game here today. Mchichwa, Kukudlamini, UJ free kick. Haven't reverted to their substitute bench just yet, have the University of Johannesburg, keeping to their guns. But like I've summarized their season, they look at their 5-6 seasons in the Super League so far, this will rank as number 3. I think they can definitely be proud of themselves, of the work that they've done in 2025. It's not done yet, they've still got the USAs on the cards. Tolagele. Nonhlanhla Mthandi also come on in the midfield for Mamelodi Sundowns, nicknamed Gaddafi. This is Dlamini. Machia. Mzobe Peck watching those two CDM positions with Masilela, 5 in the back line for UJ. It's Tiba Tibang at the moment. Tiba Tibile, Vimbo Vimbile. Diagonal for Khatebe. Khatebe now looks to the box. Is there anyone coming through? The goalkeeper, the winner. Mieki. Now, ball threaded through. Good looking ball that was for jersey 11. I think that's Maseko. Bani plays out with it, but is clipped by Mchichwa, and Mchichwa is going to be the recipient of a yellow card. The second UJ player to be booked in the game. It was a yellow to Mokoena, and now a second yellow is issued to Mchichwa. Sundowns just game management at the moment for them. A victory here today takes them ever so closer to title number 6 in the Hollywoodbets Super League. They're on 65 points. It would take them up to 68 They do have a game in hand to Galaxy, and they'd be 8 points ahead of them if they win here today. Truly are just stretching that gap. Mamelodi Sundowns. Attention required in the midfield. If you are just joining our coverage on our SAFA platform now, 2 goals that you would have missed. One from Refilwe Tolagele, a real banger, and then Tabiseng Machia taps it home with the easiest of goals that she'll score this year. That'll be the highlight moments from today's game. Piana still in the park, albeit playing a little bit deeper. Esane. Kept it at their feet really successfully. Machia, 17 goals for Machia in her last season for Richmond United, and Mamelodi Sundowns are going to profit with a set piece. What do they conjure up here? Oh, word, I think that's a second yellow and sent to the shower early. Oh, big drama here, her last game of the season, and she will not even play the entire 90 minutes. Second yellow card, warrants are coming off. And now Sundowns have got the 2-goal advantage, and secondly they've got an additional player advantage. Wasn't necessary there at all. You think of the 2 challenges, the first and the second. It's just frustration that's crept in. So the dead ball for the Brazilians, Mamelodi Sundowns. Esane there. The box is packed. They've got a woman extra. They'll be using to look at somewhere and find where the spaces are. But after this set piece first, and it's something from the training ground again, Babanani Mbani was the one meant to pull the trigger. But they've still got it here. Tabiseng Machia, ball threaded through. They've opened up the defense. Numbers lining up. It falls from Tandi. This is Gaddafi. Gaddafi still down in the box goes Lusanda Mavundla. Once the ball again does Tabiseng Machia towards this left flank. Instead, Gaddafi gets a run in on the legs. So for UJ, the chances of them finishing in that 6th position will depend on how UWC eventually does. They've still got 5 games to go, but they'll definitely be a top 8 team. They'll be a top half team this year, will UJ. Again, like they so often are. Machia. Oh, Biana, what a pass! And then puts power behind it, does Tandi. There's 1 goal in national colours, does Tandi. It came in a friendly series against Malawi in UJ. Well, she scored at UJ. Soweto. They've got 12 minutes to go. A dozen of minutes. And the crowd still loving it. I hope you're enjoying the watch on SAFA and our SAFA stream. It's been a good game. And the champions is carrying on the great run of form that they're in at the moment. Mamelodi Sundowns. The last time that this team dropped points was a 0-0 back in August against UWC. So they've had some games where it's been flawless, perfection. Mzobe picks up the noise for UJ. But she's immediately dispossessed, and Sundowns probe through Tholakele. Tholakele to the box, it's an open net. Oh, but she hasn't scored. How she missed that? Looking at her wide in the eyes was the open goal. Could have been a second for Thabiseng Magia. And Sundowns just make it look so easy, especially when they get those crosses from the right and put it to the box. Tandy. That is Biana. Oh, I'm so happy to see her back. What she adds to the Sundowns team, potentially, if she can get back into the national colors as well. But lots of competition there when you think of Bongeka Kamete, who can also play in the 6. China is occupying that position at the moment. This is Hadebe. Gupta says, if you're going, I'm going with you. Namtandi. Gaddafi. Diana, it's slightly up and down. Oh, terrific. Spectacular. It's a worldie. What a goal for Biana. And it's 3 for Mamelodi Sundowns. Running rampant. And that is the final nail in the coffin against this UJ team. The most beautiful goal today. There have been a couple of beauties. Tholakele's was high up there, but that is special. That is really special. And Sundowns now take their goal tally up to 76 in the league. It's knocking it around, huffing and puffing, and then you wrap it up with something of creme de la creme like that. And UJ have responded by bringing on Mnyembane for the Gupta. Oh, what a hit. There's been some special goals this afternoon. So the ball runs again from a UJ perspective. Biana. Lesane, I was just telling you about Biana's return and how good she's become. How good she's always been. And how good she's carrying on that form is Biana. Like I said, Sundowns back here at home against Copperbelt Ladies on Sunday. Can catch that game. Also, will be live and broadcasted. Some healthy Super League games will be coming to you this weekend. You know how much you love and you miss the Super League when it's not around. We love it too. 8 minutes here. Taking their time about things, and the referee says, come ladies, let's go along. Haven't had a shot on target at the University of Johannesburg. But they've got a corner, their last corner. Zobe goes through to add another option, but it comes to the box. First time that they've made Bosija work in goal. And here comes Gaddafi. The entire field opening up for her, but she sees Lelona Daweti. Now this is Daweti. Great ball that for Magia. Maybe a 4th here for Sundowns. Magia still on her feet. This is Mtandi. Gaddafi. Lelona Daweti wants the spectacular as well. That's 12 targets, to her dismay and frustration. Sundowns have made a change. It's Magia that's making her way off towards this near side of the field. And making her way on, jersey number 11 for Mamelodi Sundowns, belonging to Melinda Khadiete. UJ today, not the big bench that we're used to them having. They don't have the Shamashe twins on the bench today, but those two ladies are still involved in the setup for the University of Johannesburg. Tubelihle and Pelele Shamase. Exam time as well, round about now in the institution, so a couple of omissions due to examination duties. So the Shamashe twins not playing this last game, but definitely still part of the setup for UJ. So I guess there's that element that they've had to contend with here today, that it's examinations and some girls are just not around. Khadiete, first touch for her. It's not the best of touches. And look at the squad depth that Mamelodi Sundowns have. I mean, it's minute 85. There's 5 minutes to go in the game, and you bring on a bombshell that is Melinda Khadiete. Taweti. Khatebe. Taweti wanted it back, but Mibe gets it away. Now to the feet of Biana. So this is UJ's final 5 minutes in the Hollywoodbets Super League in 2025. Khadiete leaves it behind from Tandi. Hoofs it up. This is the target, Dazim Tandi. Sundowns still with the ball at their feet. Tandi. It's a foul by Nyembane on Tandi. Nyembane, interestingly, played for the Wits University at the varsity women's competition. Lady in jersey number 2 for UJ. Bambanani, Mbane. Zamini. Good ball by Zamini. This is Khadiete. Still Sundowns ball. Here it comes again to the box, to the fast stick. No, not quite. But to Tesane it will get eventually. And this is Tesane. So is that how the cookie crumbles in Atteridgeville this afternoon? Sundowns' remaining fixtures see them take on Copperbelt Ladies on Sunday at home. In fact, listen to this. All of Sundowns' remaining fixtures are at home. It's going to be so tough to stop the Yellow Machine, the Yellow Submarine, going at the tempo that it's going, especially when they bring you here to their backyard in Atteridgeville. But they've got Copperbelt next on Sunday. The following Saturday, it's City Lads, and then they wrap up in the first week of December against the Queen's Galaxy. I don't see them slipping points, but football has a funny way of making sure that it's exciting right up until the end. For UJ, like I've mentioned to you, the next item on the itinerary for 2025 is University Championships to qualify for the varsity women's competition. So that'll be a big one on their minds, and then they'll have all their reinforcements with the side. Shamashe twins can often be such a tic-tac-toe whenever they're playing together. But 89 minutes, the bulk, majority of the football is into the soil here in Attridgeville this afternoon. UJ have got the ball there. The referee electronic board is going to come up and indicate the 3 additional minutes that we will have at the end of this match between Sundowns and UJ. Sundowns still looking for more. Lilona Daweti saw Tolagele from far corner of her eye and chose to play her in. Healthy supporters on a Wednesday, imagine that. That's what the women's game is all about. Getting the supporters through even during midweek for some real proper football. I think last couple of changes being prepped here. From a Sundowns perspective, we'll confirm to you shortly who's just made their way onto the park. Esane wins it. Kat Malibana's on the bench. They haven't brought her on yet. I think it might be Chabulile Mbata who's made her way on here for Sundowns. So for UJ, those will be the numbers then for Hollywoodbets season 2025. 30 games played, 12 won, 6 draws, 12 lost. So they've won the same amount of game as they've lost, and they'll end on 42 points. They've had stronger tallies before, but in what's been a tipsy-turny season, an unpredictable season in the Super League, they'll take it. And they'll take that form and plan for next year. For Sundowns, the journey goes on. For Sundowns, they've got lots of national team players. So for them, the thinking will be WAFCON. The thinking will be potentially Rio de Janeiro in 2027. In fact, for the entire Hollywoodbets Super League, that is the mandate. A shove on the back of Mnyembane by Karabo Dlamini. And time all but up now. The referee's additional time concluded. We're reaching the 3-minute mark. Maybe UJ can get some late consolation. It will surely just be consolation at this point in the game. Masilela. Pusha Masilela goes for goal for UJ. And that is the 3 minutes done and dusted. All eyes on our referee. She glimpses at her watch as well. And that is that. Mamelodi Sundowns march on to their Hollywood title number 6 and a coronation potentially on the 7th of December. For the University of Johannesburg, that is the Hollywoodbets season done and dusted. Forever into the soil. Their 6th season, their 3rd best performance. They can be proud of themselves, the Orange Army. They came here today to Attridgeville. They fought, but they were up against a test. They were up against the best. It was never going to be an easy test. And after full time, it's Mamelodi Sundowns 3 with goals from Tolagele, Magia, as well as Kolosa Piana. And that is how the cookie crumbles in Attridgeville. Thank you so much to all our viewers for tuning in across the country, potentially even across the globe. This has been SAFA TV, and these are the numbers. Sundowns 3, UJ 0, 7 corners for Sundowns, 5 offside. Shots on targets are 7-2 actually for the University of Johannesburg. But the most important stats is that Sundowns are closer to their 6th coronation, to the 6th time where they will sit at the top of the Women's Mountain. Thank you, and until next time, bye-bye.